Looks like we're live.
Live.
Thanks. Pam Ross,
Here.
Anna Marshall. Oh, you're muted, Annie. Rodney G,
Here.
Doris Graham,
Here.
Craig Larson,
Here.
Mary Lupke,
Here.
Kevin and Martin.
Here.
Here.
Thank you, Annie.
Okay. Okay. We welcome our guests. Do we have citizens desiring to address the board?
We do not have citizens for the agenda items.
Okay, so next we're going to the adoption of agenda from the previous meeting.
So move to adopt agenda as presented.
Second.
Do we need a roll call?
No.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So moved and accepted. Now the acceptance of the minutes from the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 And then we need approval for the executive session resolution.
So move to have executive session for the following reasons on November 19, 2020 at 4 p.m. for litigation 610.021, for real estate 610.0212, for personnel 610.0213, for negotiations 610.0219, for specific employee personnel record 610.02113, and for legal purposes 610.02114.
Before we vote, can I ask a point of order? It is called for 4 o'clock. Is that intentional, or are we having it at 4 because we have a lengthy agenda?
I think it was at 4 o'clock because there will probably be a workshop at the end. So we'll move the public session up to 5.
Okay.
We still need a second.
Oh, second.
Do we need a roll call?
Yes.
Okay.
Marshall,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Graham,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
G,
Yes.
Lupke.
Yes.
Okay, now for recognition and presentations. Is Nez available for this?
Yes, I'm here. Hold on, please.
Ah, good to see you.
Yep. Sorry, I had to turn the lights on. All right, can y'all see my screen?
Not
yet.
yet.
Hold on, please. Is that better?
No,
Don't
we
see it.
still don't
Can't
have
see your
it.
screen.
I did share the screen. Let's try
It's
this one more
starting.
time.
There you
There
go.
it is. There it is. Yeah.
All right, technology is not my friend today, but we're gonna play nice in the sandbox. So good evening, everybody. I Chair Ross, Chancellor Pittman, trustees, students, faculty, staff, and guests. I'm Nez Savala, Communications Manager for STLCC. So tonight we are recognizing faculty members who excel in the classroom. The Governor's Award for Excellence in Teaching is presented to faculty members who exemplify effective teaching, effective advising, service to the university community, commitment to high standards of excellence, and success in nurturing student achievement. This year's honorees are Ellen Mccloskey, Professor of Communications at Wildwood, Gary Ford, Professor of Psychology at Forest
Gary,
Park,
come get the door.
and Steve Elen, Electronic Engineering Technician, Adjunct Instructor at Florissant Valley. They will be recognized Friday, November 13th during the Missouri Community College Association's annual Convention and Solutions Center, which shifted to a fully virtual event for 2020. Ellen Mccloskey joined the college in 1995 after a successful career as an advertising director at a large national food wholesaler. She taught at Florissant Valley until 2011, then transferred to Wildwood. She has served as a program coordinator, department chair, and served on numerous campus and college committees. Gary Ford has been a full-time and adjunct instructor at Forest Park for 15 years. He's received numerous teaching awards, served on campus committees, co-chaired the African American History Month Committee, and is a member of the Women's History Month Committee and served on the college's Voice for Diversity and Inclusion Task Force. Steve Elen has more than 40 years of experience in the field of engineering and technology education. He supervises the daily activities of the Engineering Technology Center, Computer-Aided Instructional Labs, and 3D Printing Lab. He's involved with the college's Career Coach, coordinates area K-12 school robotics competitions, and the Florissant Valley Student Engineering Societies. He has 2 associate degrees from STLCC, was named Florissant Valley's Adjunct Faculty Member of the Year in 1997, received the NISOD Teaching Excellence Award from the University of Texas at Austin in 2006, the John and Sue Ann Roush Excellence Award in 2016, and was named Florissant Valley's Professional Employee of the Year in 2018. So congratulations to them. They did receive certificates via email. The Emerson Excellence in Teaching Award Program, the Apple for the Teacher program, is sponsored by Emerson and annually recognizes 100 educators in the St. Louis area, from kindergarten teachers to college professors, who exemplify excellence. This year, our recipients are Gary Ford, Professor of Psychology at Forest Park, Sharon North, Professor of Mathematics at Florissant Valley, and Jeffrey Snyder, Professor and Chair of the English Department at Merrimack. Due to COVID-19 pandemic and related uncertainties, the honorees will receive their Excellence in Teaching Award from Emerson later this year. As mentioned, Gary Ford, we spoke about his achievements previously. And so we'll start with Sharon North. She started her career at STLCC in 1998, and she's in her 33rd year of teaching math, either at a community college or university level. She's designed math curricula, served in leadership roles as a department chair, an assistant chair, and a district-wide developmental education coordinator. She represents faculty on the Missouri Co-Requisite at Scale Task Force and serves on the State Advisory Board for Mathematics Pathways. She received the National Institute for Staff and Organizational Development Excellence Award in 2010 and has been recognized by students as a faculty mentor in the college's Emerging Scholars Program. This year, she was the Florissant Valley's recipient of the David L. Underwood Memorial Lecture Award. Jeffrey Snyder has been a faculty member since 2007, and he's served in several leadership roles. He completed a doctorate in English from Purdue University. He has developed and taught English composition curricula in St. Louis area high schools, serves as a culture area chair for the Popular Culture Association. He sits on the board of directors for the Hispanic Arts Council of St. Louis, which he developed an English curriculum for their Puertas, ACT, prep, and college mentoring program. Congratulations to everyone for their dedication to STLCC and to our student success. And
Nez,
yes, ma'am.
may I just say this a minute,
Yes.
please? Gary Ford, when I was working on my statistical data for my PhD, he was working at St. Louis University at that time, and he was very helpful in getting my statistical data on track. And to look at him now, Gary Ford here, I'm telling you, he looks so young, but this was back in 1978, 79 that he helped me. I'm so proud of him. Yes, indeed.
That's good. That's a nice story. I think you know everybody in St. Louis, Dr. Graham.
So proud of him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if he's listening, I'm sure he's humbled that you're proud.
I'm proud.
So, thank you, Dr.
Thank
Graham, and thank you to everyone. That concludes our
Thank you.
presentation.
Okay, now we have an informational presentation about the mobile app.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I believe Khaloud from IT is going to be presenting.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Let me share my presentation. Share my desktop. Share. And can you all see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go. Roll. All right. Well, good evening. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share with you some exciting news about the mobile app. I know you all have been waiting for it for a while, and we're ready to roll out. To begin, I will share with you some background about some slide about the project, about the project, and then do a demo from the student experience from the banner integration side, and share with you the rollout plan and the communication plan behind the project. So the mobile app project has been jointly sponsored by IT, by Student Affair and Academic Affair, Academic Affair has been part of it, and in partnership with Marketing and Communication. The sponsor for this project are Keith Hackey, Dr. Christine Davis, and Regina Blackshear. The mobile app is running on a Moodle Lab platform and integrated with Banner, and soon will be with Blackboard to facilitate personalized student experience. And by leveraging student information from Banner, the communication strategy will be targeted and personalized, putting student on the path of success. So we developed three main goals for this project. The first goal was to unify all aspects of the student experience into a single app and help the college to deliver a personalized experience for the student, the visitor, alumni, faculty, and staff, and complement all existing system application services. Our second goal is to integrate the app with Banner and Major System to allow students to register on the go. And the third goal that we have for the app is to provide mobile access to campus news, maps, events, social media, and videos, and give the college another mean to communicate emergency messages to students, as well as personal information from Banner. So just to share with you some little background about the project. In response to your request for a mobile app to allow students to register via mobile devices, we began by developing a mobile strategy. Last fall, we did some analysis about our mobile presence in our ecosystem, and we developed a specific vision for the mobile app. We researched the available market platform in the market, and we selected Moodle Lab platform and end-to-end to support our integration. We completed the acquisition for the services and the platform in July 2020, and we assembled the implementation team, and we developed an accelerated implementation plan using a phased approach. And then we scheduled our kickoff meeting with the vendor on July 22nd, exactly 3 months ago. So how did we plan our implementation? So to better serve our student and take advantage of the new platform for the upcoming spring event and utilize the app for student engagement, we are deploying the app using a building block methodology. We planned a 3-step phased approach. Each step is focused on specific targeted audience, using persona for personalized experience, and it's aligned with the college academic activity to maximize engagement. Each phase will continue to build on the previous delivered phase and include additional feature and functionality and added integration to enhance the user experience. So phase one of the project is focused on student to allow a student to explore the college, apply, and register. Once they are admitted and registered, they will be provided with needed information to keep them engaged. We're delivering two persona, potential students and current students. It will be integrated with Banner to allow students to browse course schedule, register, view their academic record, hold account balance, and financial aid information. It will also utilize the push notification as a technique to keep both audiences engaged and possibly for campus emergencies. Phase two will be focused on will be focused on enhancing both student persona by implementing additional feature and functionality, such as the virtual walking tour, and utilize additional push notification like banner messages to increase user interaction, and providing up-to-date and urgent information reminder about important announcement. It will deliver the alumni and faculty and staff persona to provide access to needed information and resources as well. Our phase three will be focused on on increasing system integrations, and will deliver a guest and community persona to expand our outreach to the community. So we'll have a ability to communicate faster, better. So at this point, I am happy to share with you the announcement of the rollout of our first build. It has been completed, our first phase completed, and we submitted the app to both App Store and the Google Play, and has been accepted and been published, and it's available currently in both places. And we're very proud of this accomplishment, and we have now a presence, actually branded present for the college in both stores. The marketing campaign behind this first build was to apply, register, and stay on track at St. Louis Community College with the STLCC mobile app. And it is focused on prospective students and current students. The potential student primarily is focused on recruitment. It will start by giving the student the ability to apply to for the college, to STLCC, and it's currently linked. It is currently linked to Apply Now. Apply Now is going to link to the current application, but as soon as Student Affairs finish the implementation of the new apps, we will switch it and we'll link it to the new app, which is more mobile ready, so the student can take advantage of this as well. This persona will give the student the ability to explore the program, even get answer fast using a live chat feature. We were able to integrate the mobile app with live chat. So when their student have a question, they don't have to call someone or even send an email. They can immediately hit on chat, whether chatting for financial aid, academic advising, enrollment services, even with IT help desk. They can chat with live person and get what they needed help. They can find their way around the campus using maps and have access to important dates and access to STLCC on social, and even complete their Archer orientation from the mobile app all together in one screen. This persona is available for everybody, not just for students, but the communication is targeted to the students. So anyone can download this and see it and use the feature from it. The second persona is for the current student. And this persona is pretty much focused on engagement and retention. It will give the student the ability to register for classes, view their courses, get access to campus, campus notification, also have access to the chat from the same screen, and have access to student services and stay up to date on campus event. They can they are able to register from one click, hitting the registration icon here. This persona requires some authentication. Student will have to authenticate using their college username and password. But it's not just limited. Any employee can log in and use the same, get access to the same information, except they won't be able to obviously the information in Banner is limited to student or to employee at this point. Now, by by going to the MySCLCC icon, it's more personal, even more personal for the student. By hitting that icon, it'll bring in a special screen that is so even more personalized for students that will allow them to log into the banner, Blackboard, navigate, and their email, and so forth. And when they click on My Academic, that's the academic will take them directly to Banner. Now, this screen is similar to Banner self-service, but even very precise and very clean to get them what they needed to register. From there, they can register for classes and view their classes. And at this point, I'm going to take you through the demo of how the student's going to go through the screen, because this is you may not be able to see it if you're not registered and going through the process. And I thought that would be a good show here. So just to show you how the student gonna go through the screen, this is the banner registration. From the landing screen, this is the main screen. They can tab on My Classes and they'll view their registration and waitlisted classes. In one screen, even the waitlisted, it will be highlighted. Then by tapping on Weekly Schedule, they can see one screen, a week schedule of their schedule for courses, where they're meeting, what time they're meeting, and the location and the time of meetings. Then again, from the same screen, they can register. From clicking, they can tab on the credit and the term they want to register for. So if they know their CRN number, they can just add it to the CRN feed and add it to the shopping cart. Otherwise, they can tap onto the browse schedule, and there it will open up a list of subject they can choose from. By clicking on a subject, then it will take them to the next screen. A list of, like, if I clicked on history, it will give me all the history classes that are available. So by hitting, like, for instance, if I hit the History 102, it'll give them a screen, one for the class detail and one for registration, and it tells them where it's offered, what type of classes, and how many credit hours. And then by hitting the registration detail, from there they will see the course meeting time and the course dates and how many seats available. And from there, they can add it to the shopping cart from the bottom here. Once it's added to the shopping cart, at this point, they can continue to add more classes to the shopping cart, either by entering the CRN or hitting back again the browse schedule and going through the same list and adding more classes. And once they're done, they can hit Submit Card, and we'll give them the outline, and it will show them which classes they have been registered for and which one they have been put on a wait list for. So this is the whole registration process from beginning to end, how the student is going to be experiencing going through to the mobile app. Now, additional information that they can have access from Banner is they can have access to their personal information. They can click on the personal information, tab it, and they can have access to their curriculum, their information, their personal information, and their contact information at the tip of their finger. As you see, every screen is just one tap and they get the information. They don't have to go to multiple screens to see all this information. And then from at the same screen again, they can access their account balance and see what their account balance, and it will list them for them very cleanly, or how much they owe the college and whether they have credit or balance to pay and so forth. And then they can tap into the financial aid. On the financial aid screen can also show them their budget amount, their awards, what type of award, what scholarship they have, and whether they have even hold. They are all in one screen. They can see and scroll all the stuff in one screen. So that is the experience that the students are going to see as when we are releasing this app for them. So what is our rollout plan at this point is, as I said, the first phase is complete and we are ready to release it, and it's going to be released on October 27th. And the second phase is scheduled to be released on March 30, and the third phase is June 30. It's a 12-month project, but like I said, we're doing it using a building block methodology and phased approach so we can start taking advantage of the platform. Between those phases, we will continue to release bug fixes and add enhancement based on feedback on a monthly basis. It's like any development application. There will be some bug fixes. This is normal, but we're adhering the same. We're going to be practicing the same industry best practice, basically applying the same thing. So where we're going next after that, we're going to be starting our communication plan starting on the 27th. The communication plan has been coordinated, and with the support of the marketing communication department, they've been very supportive of this project and very instrumental in this project as well, including in the implementation team. So what we're going to do about the communication of this release, the app will be featured on our website homepage. It will be featured in our current student page, admission registration page, and will be added to our local campus newsletter. We're going to create also a news story, and we will post the news on the social. We'll post it on the social media, and we will be posted as well on a digital screen across the campuses. And we are scheduled to release a mass email to both student and employee. So where we're going next from now is to announce the release. Dr. Pittman gracefully has accepted to announce the release of this app during Professional Development Day. So we will be making the announcement during Professional Development Day at the release of the first phase. And we're doing a session about the apps and the student success roadmap and delivering the first deliverable of that roadmap. And then we're going to continue to add more services and improve content and functionality by soliciting student input and user feedback. Students are very important to this project. We're going to be asking students for feedback when we're going to provide them with a form, because we need their voice in the process, because we want to give them an app that they can use every day, not just put it on the shelf. And we will be reviewing the app feedback in the store in both Google and Apple Store. So make sure it gets rated high, so we get good mark on it. And we begin work to include the faculty and staff and alumni persona in creating the virtual walking tours. So this project could not have happened without multiple team, starting with the project sponsor. I thank the project, Dr. Keith, Dr. Davis, and Regina. They have been instrumental in supporting this project and releasing the resources that is needed. This project could not have happened without the implementation team. We had a very energized project team, implementation team that have really put a lot of hour behind this project. 90 days to release an app. I've never done this before. This is the first time we've done a rollout in 90 days. The team had worked almost every day, except for Monday. We met Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at every day, and some evening hour and weekend to make this happen. The implementation team is made up from IT members, from student affair, academic affair, and from marketing, from the digital team, from marketing communication, and who were very instrumental in in supporting this project, the design and everything. And last but not least, I cannot not give a credit to our partner in this project, Modo, an end-to-end consultant. And from the back end, we had a technical team that supported the project, could provide us anything we need on the technical to make this integration happen. During the process of the development as well, and throughout the development of the project, we even involved the student. And it's worth mention here that I have engaged a student from Market Havaram class and from a IS 241 and the AT class. Both students we solicited feedback from those two classes, and they were helpful in some usability testing, which was very helpful. And we will continue to engage students in the next 2 releases, again, because we need their voices in the process. So we make sure we're giving them what they need to stay with us, and we can connect with them and keep them engaged. This platform is not only used for one thing, we're using it for engagement as well as registration and everything else. I thank you for giving me this opportunity to present to you the project that we are working on. We have worked on it, and we're very excited about the release.
Hey, Kevin, do you have some comments or questions?
Why you ask me first? Because I always do.
No, because you were the one who really pushed this.
Well, I appreciate, and I would say also to Craig Larson as well, Trustee Larson, just really appreciate that we're finally at a place where we're getting there, where students will be able to register online. And I know it's a lot of work and behind the scenes work that often doesn't get recognized. So thank you for everyone who led the project, led the team, all behind the scene people, because I do think it will make a difference when we're out advertising and promoting the community college, that people can do it from their iPhones. As we see in K-12 world, students know how to work a iPad or an iPhone. They struggle to work on a Chromebook. And we never thought people wouldn't know how to open tabs, but if you ask them to open a tab on an iPhone or an iPad, they would know how to. So the fact that we are now at a place where students will be able to see classes and register for classes certainly is a big kudos to everyone. And I appreciate all of the work and the push from Dr. Larson as well throughout this whole project.
And I would like to add that in my previous life, I worked at a web development company, and making something user-friendly is extremely difficult and takes a lot of, just a lot of brain power. I love the chat function because that can save people a lot of frustration. So I'm really happy about what's happened, and we do really appreciate, this is very difficult work and it's not over yet. There's still a lot that I'm sure will be, in the process. So my hat is off to all of those who were involved with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me share with you the story of the mobile app. And just one of the challenges that I got about, even though we were working from everywhere, obviously we're working from home, that did not stop us from working together and collaborate in delivering this app. It was a lot of effort, but the team was very committed to the project and very committed to the student, and it shows up there. It was that we went from forming to norming to performing within 6 weeks. We gelled and we did awesome work.
It's Annie. I have to just, my hat is off to you and your team and to Craig and everybody. This is the neatest thing ever. I am such an iPhone girl, and this is so easy. And this is going to open windows this is going to open up the college to people all over. They're thinking they might drive by, see an ad for STLCC. They're going to jump on their phone and they're going to register for class. I think this is going to be tremendous for enrollment. It's so user friendly. I love the graphics. It's so straightforward. It's fantastic. So yay, I'm loving it. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about this. This is so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair, I would just echo your comments in terms of developing something in 90 days that's as great as this app. That's incredible. And to do it in an environment where the team isn't there together and they're doing it on a virtual, that is incredible. So my hat's off to the entire team for all of their efforts. I know they're not telling us everything they went through, but I have a good sense of how tough that was. Thank you. It's great work.
And Madam Chair, I say ditto to what everybody else is saying. This is fantastic, and hats off to the team. Job well done.
Thank you.
And I hope you'll share all of our comments with your co-workers on this project, because certainly they need, that recognition.
I will definitely do. And
Thank you so much.
the app is in the store. If you feel like you can download it and get a head start.
Okay.
Thank you.
I apologize. I got distracted, and I just have to say, I've been so excited for this program to come to fruition, and it's better than I ever thought. So I hope it is well received by students. I'm sure it will. And I love the discussion that it'll be enhanced and worked on over time. That's terrific.
Yeah.
The cool thing is I just put my iPhone camera over the QR code and I'm in. I mean, it took me right there. So it's easy as pie.
Okay. Are there any other comments or questions?
I'm gonna do that.
Okay, I guess we're on to board committee reports.
No, we first have the resolution. If I could,
Shucks.
you'd like me to read that for everyone to make the motion for approval of Dr. Irving P. McPhail of Salem.
Oh,
Like me to read that?
yes, thank you.
Okay, so resolution of appreciation, Dr. Irvin P. McPhail. Whereas Irving was appointed the president of St. Louis Community College in 1995 and served admirably in that position through January of 1999. Whereas in 1996, Dr. McPhail was instrumental in establishing the Florissant Valley Emergency Scholars Program as a way to recognize academic excellence and encourage students taking developmental courses. The program has since adopted district-wide, and whereas he played a critical role in developing mentoring programs and initiatives where an emphasis on African-American male students. Whereas during his time as president, he played a critical role in fostering diversity and inclusion in campus events, curriculum development initiatives, and community relations. And whereas he was instrumental in improving, enhancing, and streamlining the Florissant Valley campus governance model. And whereas he was recognized a national leader in post-secondary student success, underrepresented minorities in STEM education and careers, and community college leadership. During his tenure as president, he dedicated himself to ensuring educational access for all students, centering diversity and inclusion in his leadership, serving the St. Louis community with distinction, vibrancy, and finally promoting the Florissant Valley campus and St. Louis Community Colleges as a viable educational and community partner. Now, therefore, be resolved, St. Louis Community College Board of Trustees expresses a sincere and heartfelt appreciation for his years of service to Florissant Valley campus and St. Louis Community College, and our deepest condolences to his family, friends, and colleagues. Be it further resolved, the expression of gratitude, appreciation, and sympathy to be made permanent part of the record of St. Louis Community College Board of Trustees this 22nd day of October 2020.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. Certainly a well-deserved recognition, especially considering STEM advancement more than 20 years ago. So that's amazing.
We need a second on that motion.
Move.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you again, Kevin. Okay. Do we have board committee reports?
I would give a very brief report on kind of where we're going with the work around the potential ask of the public for a tax increase or bond issue to improve facilities and perhaps support some development of new programs. The committee continues to meet. We've, I think, just had one meeting since I reported last time. The facilities study is now literally in progress. So relatively quickly, I'll let Paul say exactly how quickly the board should actually, along with faculty members, begin to see some drawings and suggestions of the kinds of improvements we might want to consider asking the public to support. We have the Invest in STLCC committee being formed. We're reaching out to people and asking them to serve on that, asking influential people or people who can help with the actual campaign. Some of the influential people probably need to be able to support the Vote Yes committee. So I'm, as a citizen, I'm working on that. The faculty cannot. I mean, the chancellor and other members can't be involved in that. So that's a little bit of a horse before the cart, but we need some time to get that committee formed. So assuming the board does move forward, we've got community support prepared to support the levy. At the same time, the board will decide based on data we'll get over time when and kind of what's appropriate. So I want to keep underscoring that. The other thing that we started, I announced, is ongoing to internal committees, working with staff throughout on all the campuses and talking about, what are the kinds of enhancements that would help you better serve students. I mean, in a way, the conversation we had at the beginning of our discussion about how we can make sure our strategic plan focuses on helping students is exactly right. And whatever we do in this area has to align to that. So it's not, we're going to do something that's spiffy. we're going to do something that really makes the college very relevant now and into the future. So those are important decisions. And we are obviously offering a good number of programs and degrees that are quite different than we had when the colleges were built. So it makes sense that we would need to enhance some of the facilities for programmatic issues. I'll end that and take questions and when I finish, but I'll end that by saying I represented the board at the presentation at Wildwood, where the governor came and celebrated the federal state grants that supported the development of the nursing program, and that's in work. I mean, that's working. We're there. So all of these efforts aren't, I mean, we are actually moving where we can with the money available to us to make improvements, and we'll continue doing that. Dr. Pittman has been doing fundraising, so he's got funds. So it's a bit of a moving target, or it's a work in progress. But I must say it was very positive, and the students and the faculty at Wildwood who are in the new nursing program are just ecstatic, and hoping that we would. I mean, they've taken space out of the existing building to do that, hoping that we would eventually be able to expand the whole campus and do more in the STEM area. So, Dr. Pittman, you may want to talk more about that, but it was a very well-received, positive event.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Larson. Actually, I'll have a little presentation on that in my report.
Okay.
And have some great pictures of the event. We look forward to sharing that.
Any questions or suggestions or whatever?
Craig, do you know when we'll get the first renderings to look at?
Well, I'll let Paul kind of give us a timeline. We literally have the architectural firm selected. They are working with internal committees. I mean, they may well have a focus group with us. I mean, that would be a normal thing to do at some point. So it's not like they're going to, in 4 weeks, draw it all up and tell us what we want. They're actually involving people to see what are the kinds of improvements that would make sense. Then they'll put numbers to those, and that'll become part of the board's, the leadership team, the board's discussion is, what priority and how much can we support and so forth. But Kevin, I think your point, if I'm right, is it's so helpful to see what it is people are talking about. And that's why we need a firm with architects that can sketch that out. And it doesn't have to be terribly elaborate, but it has to be clear enough at some point for the public to see it, but even along the way for our staff to think about what those changes might look like.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Or Paul, do you have something to add?
Wonder if he's in microphone problems again.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that the renderings are due in January or February.
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, we'll have those available here in the not too distant future for your review.
Okay, all right. I guess that's the only committee report we have. Okay.
Yes, Madam Chair, we'll also be talking about childcare at the workshop coming up.
Right. Okay. We're on to the consent agenda items. And Kevin, did you need to remove one of those or?
Madam Chair, it's already been removed as 5.1. And I'll say why I removed it when we get there. After
Okay, all right.
Thank you, though.
So.
Force, building a foundation, discrimination prevention, and Title IX.
What was that?
I don't know.
Okay. We approve the consent agenda.
It's hard not to get a little silly after doing all these.
Yeah, right.
That's
Some kind of goblins out there.
The consent agenda.
Yeah, second.
Okay. Do we need a roll call on this? No. Okay.
No.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Next, we're on to human resources.
No, it's 5.1, the academic affairs. We just approved human resources.
Okay.
This is the reason before, well, I guess we need a motion before I say why I asked.
Okay. Okay,
I-
Kevin, help me out here. I'm not sure.
I pulled 5.1 off consent agenda, academic affairs. We just need a motion and a second, and then I'll say why I pulled it off and then a vote.
A
Okay,
motion
and-
to approve the academic affairs contracts and agreements as presented in the agenda. Make that
Second.
motion.
Is that what you wanted, second? Moved in second.
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason I just pulled it off is there's an agreement with Ferguson Florissant School Board on there. And since I sit on the governing body of that, I've asked to pull it. So I'm going to abstain from that vote. So just as I did when it was approved on Florida School Board, I abstain. I'm just abstaining as well tonight. So that's why I asked for that to be pulled. So I'm not voting no or abstention on the whole consent agenda. So that's all.
Okay.
That's the right thing to do.
And do we need a roll call on that?
No.
No. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, looks like we're on to the Chancellor's report.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. We will see if I can pull up my screen. Can you see my PowerPoint okay?
Yes, so far.
All right, very good. And we'll see if I can get my PowerPoint working.
There it goes.
And it's had a little glitch. Hang on a second here. Let's try that again. All right, can you see that?
No.
Not yet.
Dr. Pittman, I'll share it.
Let me try it one more time here, Michal.
There it is.
You got it now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just, instead of trying to start the PowerPoint, it seems to be having some difficulties. I'll just run through slide by slide manually. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. Thanks for being here. We've got a lot of things going on in the college, so I'll try to make this as quick as I can. We just found out this week, I wanted to share with you that the foundation received a 2-year pledge from the William S. Anheuser Charitable Foundation of $150,000 this week. We're really excited about this in particular because the funds can be used for food and basic needs assistance for our students. And that's really relates to several of the things that we've been talking about lately. So this is a nice head start for a lot of the type of wraparound services that we're beginning to put in place for our students. We also have a lot of facility renovations on the way. These funds were actually, we've held some funds back from the last couple of years and will be starting on these projects soon. And again, these are one-time funds, but you can see the different campuses there at Wildwood. We're creating some improved space for the testing center and quiet study space. The early college partnership space, which is critical for us with Eureka and Parkway. We're improving that quite a bit. Actually, we lost that space due to the nursing program going up on the 3rd floor. At Flow Valley, we're looking at a complete rehab of the humanities building, much like we did at the social science building last year. Then at Merrimack, one of the largest buildings that we have with just a lot of classrooms and lecture halls in it is the lecture hall renovation. Then Forest Park, with all the great work that's going on there right now, we want to make sure our signage and maps are all updated. And as well, not only on the outside, but on the inside, so students can easily find their way about the campus. And then at Forest Park, also another ADA left for library space. All right, I just wanted to show you some pictures tonight on the Forest Park campus. I appreciated trustees Martin and Lukey got to visit last night for the lighting of the light walls that we did last night. A lot of great things going on there. We got some great coverage from the scene that showed an internal rendering. This is the inside of the campus south of the new building that gives a little ad or a little article on the light walls. And normally when I share pictures of you of the new building, I show things out from Oakland. This is from the inside of the campus. You can see the dramatic effect of where we are with what's left of the towers ending and what's becoming a new open quad area for the students. So I'll kind of click through some of these pictures here quickly that, instead of what used to be kind of a monolithic approach of AB tower, has been greatly reduced, and you're going to see a lot more green space. Matter of fact, we'll be very shortly putting down all the sod for you. This is from the south side of the campus. You can see the new road going through that will go all the way out to Oakland. This shows another picture that would be from the southwest side. You can see one of the biotemp retention ponds. Those things are really cool. We actually have about 3 of them when the project's done. Here's a quick photo of the light walls. You can see kind of the enormous scale of those. This picture of the light walls shows we're actually creating a new, corridor all the way from the parking garage up to the old student plaza back on the other quad, or the other side, the west side of the campus. And this was a dramatic effect I really hadn't counted on, but this is a job the architects have done very well in creating a much open and much more friendly and inviting space. Here's another picture of the biotension pond. I believe that is on the south side as well. There is the end cap that's going up on the remaining C&D towers, which will be completed soon. And then we moved the weathered Venus. They just came in and got her. It didn't take very long at all the other morning, and Julie Fick has provided us with some pictures. And there she is. So we've got her in place now, and that will be a lit statue coming very soon. And I wanted to share some pictures with you. As I mentioned, trustees Martin and Lukey were there. This is the lighting of the light walls. You can see this will be a much brighter space on the Forest Park campus as we finish up this particular project. What's next? We're building out the 4th floor of the Center for Nursing Health Sciences. So we're putting in medical assisting and patient care, and then moving physical therapy and occupational therapy from the Merrimack campus onto the 4th floor of the new building at Forest Park. I know you can't see, this is quite an eye chart, but I did want to point out we have a multi-purpose meeting room on it would be the northeast corner of the 4th floor, and you'll be able to see the arch view and the park view. That will be a much demanded space by our communities to rent and use going forward. Next, just a quick update. We're moving forward with our plans to increase the nursing students by 75%. We hope to end up with 768 seats by the time this project is complete. This is very, very timely. It includes expansions across all 4 campuses. We are facing a vacancy rate of now 5,000 nurses across Missouri. We have at least probably over 2,500 now in the region. And we just received recent approvals to expand this by the State Board of Nursing, and just received a full 8-year accreditation by the Accreditation Commission for Education in Nursing. And we're very, very excited about that. And Craig, Dr. Larson had mentioned the Wildwood Nursing Program ribbon cutting ceremony. That was a great time. We had the governor there, the commissioner for the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development,
Very clean.
the mayor of Wildwood, several city council members. We had trustees, and then of course faculty, students, and staff. This just got a few photos here of the actual event. We had a lot of fun at the event. I was really glad to see all the city officials there. I certainly want to point out my thanks to Karen Mays, who has made she's the district director of nursing for the college. We're very blessed to have a very talented and hardworking lady that's made all this possible. And what was fun when we got to show off our sim labs as the governor was arriving. up on the third floor. He entered into the sim area where he heard a lot of screaming and yelling, and one of the simulators delivered birth at that time. We had a couple of faculty there. So the governor was there in the proud, what do you call it, Grand Governor Watt of one of our simulated babies
Oh my
for
God.
one of our sim labs. But this space is indicative of, you really don't see a lot of classrooms in the new learning spaces. They're all simulation. They're all computer generated with robotics. The students have the ability to have all of their work videotaped, and the faculty meet with them to show them what they did right and what they did wrong. This is about as close to real life as you can get with simulators. So the students were great. We had several students there. They did a fantastic job. The governor just loved spending time with them. And we got some great pictures of the governor and with a lot of things. And then this last slide I'll show you. Just we had the mayor of Wildwood, we had the CEO from West County Chamber, and other city council members. That we had a great turnout from the city of Wildwood. What I want to get at. So many thanks for your time and attention. I know that's a quick overview of a lot of work that's happened. Any questions?
Great. Fantastic.
That is awesome. And
Fantastic.
such a need in our region too. So let's continue
Yeah.
with that. That is awesome.
It's very well needed. The governor on multiple times told me that we were the best return on investment he'd seen so far of the MOEC sales funding. What prompted the ribbon cutting ceremony was that the governor had awarded us $2 million for these projects to expand nursing and IT across the district. I think he was a little bit overwhelmed by what he saw at Wildwood. He wasn't expecting to see quite that much that was done. So both he and the commissioner for higher education are very happy. I think we've set ourselves up nicely to be asking for additional funds like this in the future.
Yep.
That's great.
Why not?
Excellent. Okay. Any other comments or questions for the Chancellor? Okay.
Thanks for your leadership.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you for all your support and allowing us to do all these great things for the community.
Great.
Okay. My report is really about the ACT conference that I listened to several of the different sessions, which are incredibly helpful because we all share the same problems, but we don't all have the same solutions. So a lot of the things that I listed under student services to consider were things that came directly from those sessions. And I thought it was easier to take notes from those sessions while you're at home rather than trying to do that on your lap in a meeting. And it just was I thought a great way to share that information. So it really was about understanding our students' needs and so many ways that we could improve things. Some of the things that they talked about in Chicago, I found very interesting. So they have a large school system, much larger than the city of St. Louis, but they began to offer really college prep in math and English for seniors in their high schools, which would be a big advantage to our students, I think. And then they work to offer work-based learning through the employers to give both the students a look at employers and to get, some hands-on training, and also to let the employers look at those students to see who they might hire after a certain amount of training at the community college. And they did a lot of having their advisors in the high schools to help students with enrollment, and also to help students who weren't ready for college find a career or a job path, which I know the Germans have always been very good about talking to their high school students, probably sooner than we would as a senior, to help them figure out what's next, because I think many students don't have someone who's helping them do that. So those were sort of things that I thought we might take a look at in working with the school districts that we have relationships with currently. So I found the ACT conference to be extremely worthwhile. I missed a couple, and according to Craig, they're supposed to post those so we can watch them later, but Craig has said that they're not available yet. So
yeah, I reached out just a couple days ago, and because they were supposed to be available a week ago.
Right.
A week ago, right.
They weren't available during the conference, or they were supposed to be live after that weekend. So I know I had some conflicts with ones I wanted to watch, and said, well, that's fine. I'll just watch them. And I guess that's still going to happen, but they're something went wrong with their whole process of recording and showing those out. But if you're registered, and I think 4 of us registered, we will get an email. We will have access to attend some, look at any really of the sessions that you would want to do.
Yes, the one I missed that I'm really interested in as well is the prison education program, which we certainly have plenty of prisons around us that we could be working with.
Mary, did you attend that?
The one about prisons? No.
Yes. Okay. I thought somebody did, but I agree that's one that's interesting. And actually, Dr. Pittman and I have had conversation a few times over the last few years. I think I'm right, Dr. Pittman, that Indiana has done more with prisons and education than Missouri has. So maybe an opportunity if you kind of get some green lights from Missouri folks that run our prisons so we could do more education.
Yes, we had in Indiana, we had the contract at where I worked for the Department of Corrections for the state. And we have, Hart Nelson and I have met with the director of the Department of Corrections probably a couple of months ago, but with this COVID environment, they're incredibly distracted right now to talk about any additional programs. But yeah, we are meeting with them, and we'll continue to circle back with her and see what we can do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's my report. And do we have citizens who are desiring to address the board?
We do. We have 6 comments that have been submitted that I'll read now.
Okay.
First one's from Allie Bartholomew in the Grants Research and Development Coordinator. Dear Board of Trustees, I am part of a highly specialized 4-person work unit at the college. I am currently working remotely on 2 requests for financial support from the U.S. Department of Education that, when announced, will have a short turnaround, usually 30 days, in November or December. These complex and highly detailed proposals, if awarded, will impact the Florissant, Valley, and Forest Park campuses for 5 years, with funding over $1.2 million to each campus to provide services that bring 1,000 high school students to post-secondary education. Each of us in the grants department provides opportunities for valuable revenue streams to the college. Our work utilizes resources that are 100% online. A blanket request to return to the office creates personal concerns for me because if one or more of our grants team's members is taken down by COVID with a deadline looming, opportunities will be lost. In the case for the Department of Education opportunity mentioned above, it is announced for funding every 5 years. 2021 turns into 2027. I respectfully request that the 4-person grants team should continue to work remotely and thus reduce exposure that could impact funding submissions for the college. Thank you for your consideration. Next is Claudia Sugar with the Grants Research and Development. Trustees, although we all wish for an end to the COVID-19 pandemic, the end has not arrived. The position I hold within the college is able to be flexible and productive without regard for personal location. My colleagues and I have been able to maintain our safety while upholding our efforts on behalf of the college and its mission. My concern is that the logic for returning to our physical offices on November 2nd has not been shared. With an uptick in cases, pending holidays, a national election, and our other professional responsibilities, a decision to return at this time seems arbitrary. None of us wants to feel that our safety and well-being are being capriciously decided by others. If there is valid reasoning, besides attempting to achieve a normalcy that no longer exists, locally, nationally, or globally, please share the thought process that has arrived at this date as vital. If there is nothing but a wish for less stress on administration, I would make the point that none of us thrives on stress, and a lack of inclusion on decisions that impact our lives and those of our loved ones would be better accepted if we were able to be a part of that planning. Meanwhile, I would ask that the board reconsider the date of reentry and allow the semester to complete and holidays pass so we may return with a fresh view of the impact of the COVID-19 virus and well-reasoned and publicly shared thoughts on leading the college into 2021. Many thanks for your time and attention. Stay well. Next is from Lori Millward in advising. I am an academic advisor at St. Louis Community College and have concerns about the return to work plans that are scheduled to begin November 2nd. As I'm sure you are aware, the virus cases in St. Louis are not declining. In fact, we are in our third surge. In addition, it's flu season. I want things to return to normal as much as everyone else, but the facts are that we are not close to being back to normal. We are not better off, in fact, we are worse than we were in the spring when we first closed. I fall into a high-risk group and have requested that I be able to continue working from home. I've submitted the ADA forms and had a preliminary meeting with Human Resources. I received an email stating that a second meeting will take place with HR and my supervisor. It also stated that while I fall into a high-risk category, that doesn't mean they will be able to approve my request for accommodations to work from home. I don't understand this as I have been successfully working from home since March. The college wants staff to work remotely in their offices, which I don't understand. This will not change the experience for the student, and being on campus will increase my risk of exposure. I know the college has a mask mandate and requires staff and students to complete a survey before coming to campus, but I don't know how well that is monitored. Do all staff and students complete the survey? Does anyone check? What about the public? Screening questions are not being asked of people entering the building. Temperatures are not being checked. I am also concerned about the number of people who will be allowed in the building at one time. We are at the beginning of a very busy registration period. I imagine that once people know the college is open, they will come in person rather than use virtual services. Finally, I am concerned about the lack of notification of staff students who test positive. Last spring and summer, the college sent notification to all staff that a student tested positive at Florissant Valley and a staff member tested positive at Forest Park. With the staff case, the buildings and restrooms this person was in were listed. Since that time, I have not heard of positive tests, though I know for a fact that at least one staff member had COVID recently. This person works in my department, yet there has been no campus-wide notification. This makes me wonder how many others have tested positive and we are not hearing about it. I would like to know what the college plans to do to address the needs of high-risk staff and faculty. While I understand the college wants to return to normal, I sincerely hope they consider and respect the safety needs of high-risk individuals. Next is from Greg Works, Professional Employee Bargaining Unit President. Greetings, Chairperson Ross, Vice Chair Marshall, and members of the board. I hope this message finds you well and safe. I am writing on behalf of the members of the Professional Employees Bargaining Unit regarding the recent return to work notifications and actions. I have been contacted by many members who are concerned about the wisdom of returning to work while a pandemic is worsening all around us. Several of these members have indicated that they are afraid to speak up publicly for fear of retaliation. That employees are afraid to speak up about health concerns during a pandemic speaks volumes about the state of employee relations at this institution. While there are some employees who want to return to the office because they feel that is where they are most effective, many more feel like they are doing just fine working remotely. We've surveyed our members, so we have data, not anecdotes. A number of employees, academic advisors are an example, have already begun returning to work where they sit in a closed office and work remotely with students. It may make sense for some employees to return to the office if they are truly needed there and can do so safely. However, unnecessarily forcing employees to choose between their health and livelihood won't be forgotten soon. Recently, a drafted document titled Temporary Work from Home Guidelines was shared. This document seems to have been designed to provide supervisors a variety of reasons to deny allowing an employee to work from home. It includes such things as the supervisors reviewing childcare or family care responsibilities and reviewing for a reliable internet provider, which are not the business of the college. Is the college choosing employees' internet providers now? The only thing the college should be considering is whether the employee can do the job remotely. All of us are ready for this pandemic to end and life to return to normal. However, wishing it away doesn't make it so. I can't imagine a health official who would consider moving employees back into offices with antiquated heating and cooling systems would be a wise move during the upsurge in COVID-19 cases, especially when the work is already being done remotely. Since employee groups have not been involved in conversations with the administration regarding the reasonings behind this decision, we can only speculate about why. Is it an exercise in power? Politics? Hopefully you will ask that question. Thank you for your time and consideration. Next one is from Christy Childs. My name is Christy Childs. I work in finance at Corporate College. I am submitting this email in regard to the return to work process. I personally have health issues that cause me to be high risk. I am also the primary healthcare provider for my mother, who is also high risk. There is no consideration for safety of upper management. Majority of the employees in my suite sit in cubicles. Individuals are constantly walking by the desks, going back and forth to the printers. Not all the walls in the cubicles are tall walls. There are 2 containers of hand sanitizer that each employee touches in order to be able to sanitize their hands. This is the same with the disinfecting spray. We are not allowed to eat at our desk. We have to share the lunchroom with multiple individuals. Corporate College has other businesses in the building that share the same lunch area and restrooms. Due to my health issue, I am not able to sit for multiple hours with the mask on. If working in the office, I have to step outside multiple times a day for fresh air. I am concerned for my health due to COVID. I've been working toward getting accommodation since May of 2020. I am still currently working on getting accommodation for working safely. I also asked for temporary accommodations during this process, and it was denied by the controller. The Chancellor sent out an email stating that we are going to gradually start coming back into the office on November 2nd. Yet an email from the controller was sent out to her department 4 days later, stating that she wants her entire department to report at 100% starting October 19th, not taking into consideration for people's health nor the message that was sent out by Dr. Pittman days before. I would typically come into the office on Mondays to print out my report and complete a couple other tasks. Once I have completed those things, I would go home and log back in. On September 8th, 2020, which was a Tuesday, I came into the office because we were off for Labor Day. I walked by the controller and she made a statement saying, "You are invisible to me." I informed her that I have a health issue and that's why I come in on Mondays to print my work. I would then return home and log in. I also informed her that I was high risk. She replied, "Well, you're still invisible to me." Those statements confirm that there are very little empathetic leaders in these positions. Not only should the college care about its students, but also the employees. The COVID numbers are constantly rising. This is the time that we are to come together for the greater good. A lot of individuals, including myself, have been working from home since March and have been productive. I am not understanding the reasoning for coming in full time if it is not needed. Since requesting employees to return, be willing to make special accommodations for those who need it. I hope that this email assists with the decisions that are being made now and in the future. We should all have an input when it comes to safety of ourselves and our loved ones. Thank you for your time and consideration. And then the last one is from Lisa Shaw, the Grants Administration Coordinator. Board of Trustees, I would like to follow up on Claudia Sugar's remarks. I agree with all her comments and concerns. Though STLCC provided technological tools, my colleagues and I have been able to continue to be productive and work collaboratively from home while staying safe. With the increase in COVID-19 statistics, upcoming presidential election, and upcoming holidays, I would ask that the board allow us to continue working from the safety of our homes and reevaluate reentry in 2021. Thank you for your consideration. And that's it.
Okay. So it is now time for board member comments. I'm going to go in alphabetical order and start with Annie if she has comments that she'd like to share.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I just wanted to just say a few kind words about the diversity program that some of us went through. I felt that it was of great help. We spent the leadership team and some of the board members spent 3 days, a total of 18 hours with the NCCJ, which stands for National Conference for Community and Justice. We had two terrific leaders providing three great seminars. I really got to know some of the members of the leadership team that I had not really gotten to had any time to spend with at all. It was really great. And now there's also going to be there's going to be a round 2 of the inclusion training. They're going to be held Tuesday, November 10th and Friday, November 20th. It'll be a little bit abbreviated, but it will be, they're going to have a new group of cohorts and deans and some faculty. I think once people learn about this knowledge, you kind of can't unlearn it. You can't see it. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee. I just hope that it grows. I hope that this will help foster a great way for us to really understand how important and necessary and critical equity is for everybody involved that walks through STLCC.
Thank you, Annie. Craig, do you have comments you'd like to share?
I don't know that I have anything additional. I have some notes from the ACCT conference, but I think I'll wait and put those together with all the other sessions and send that out as an email, and then maybe comment about a couple of them at the next meeting.
Okay, Doris.
Hello, everyone. I have some notes also from the ACCT, and an email came out to me. It said that board members, it was a good idea if we put our information together, tell what classes we took, and and some notes from it. So I was all set to do that, and I'm still going to do it. I'm waiting for the information to be played back to me, because there were a couple sessions that I did not get into at the very beginning, and I'm looking forward to sharing with everybody. And I want to thank everybody who did send me words of congratulations for the Lifetime Achievement Achiever Award that I got from St. Louis American Newspaper and St. Louis American Foundation. Talked to Kate today, and I said, because I want to know who nominated me. And she said, Doris, I'm going to tell you, you've been on our short list for a long, long time. So the committee just unanimously agreed that, this was your time. So, I'm happy about it. I just miss the hugs and and face to face, because I'm a huggy person. But with this pandemic, it could not happen. But guess what? My baby sister, Faye, who loves to take pictures, she came over and we dressed up just as if we were at the gala affair. And my nephew and his girlfriend and a dear friend of her and her husband. So we were socially distanced in my little bungalow, and we just had a wonderful time. And so I just want to share that joy with you. And I want to thank anybody who sent me a comment on Facebook or whatever. Thank you. And I'm making a scrapbook from that. When you get old, you have time to do stuff. Like you should see this 1,014 piece puzzle that I'm putting together. There was a birthday gift from my granddaughter who took a picture and she sent it to Shuttlefly. That's me with all of my grandkids there, and they're all grown. And now I'm putting that puzzle together. That means I got time on my hands. So I'll be ready to share my information from ACCT when it comes forward.
Okay, thank you, Doris. Kevin, you're up next.
He's muted.
Did you say me? My internet it's that great internet. I don't have much to say besides it was great to see Mary and Jeff and all the work yesterday at the wall of lights at our new nursing. It does make such a difference being over there, just seeing more openness. I look forward to seeing all the green space that's to come. And I look forward to our grand plan if the board choose to go with a tax levy and a master plan of updating, because I think, I look at Flow Valley every day when I drive to work and come home from work. That's the exit I take. And so I see that campus every single day. And certainly there needs to be some love and tender care as well there. And certainly it's just great to see that. And we will continue to see, I believe there's a huge opportunity for our college to see an increase in dual credit and dual enrollment students. I think that is an opportunity, continue to be an opportunity for success. And we continue to see increase in that, but I think there's going to be a bigger push as we see finances tighten in families' homes because of lost jobs and other things, that families are going to be looking for opportunities to get their students or their children educated for free during high school to come out with a high school diploma and a college degree at the same time. So I do look forward to the continued opportunity to figure how we can keep expanding that and providing that opportunity. I'll say one barrier that we have to continue to focus on is textbooks with that. Some of our parents are spending more on textbooks than the class itself costs. And so I think that is something that we need to continue to address to figure out how we can make sure it's accessible for all, because not everyone can afford a $250 textbook for every class they take. And so just appreciate Elizabeth's team's efforts on that. And I look forward to that continuing to grow as an opportunity to grow in enrollment.
Thank you, Kevin. Mary, your thoughts?
My thoughts are that kudos for major endeavors that I had nothing to do with. The Forest Park campus is beautiful. It was just thrilling to go over and see what was happening there because that was new to me. You all have done amazing work as far as everything to do with healthcare services. And so I receive a lot of comments about how wonderful it all is. And I unabashedly take credit for all of it. So thank you for all the work you did. I enjoyed the conference and am very proud of all of you. And I'm hoping as we work through this difficult time, we continue to be as forward moving and student centered as clearly this board and the school is. So it looks to me like we're headed in the right direction with real challenges. And because I'm new to the board, I would like to compliment all of you for the hard work you've done to this point. I have really come to appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mary. And last but certainly not least, Rod, do you have some comments for us?
Well, I do. And first of all, I'm looking forward to learning from all of you as you went to your various conferences and included the training. As you know, I was away. I'm now a married man again.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And I can only tell you that Amelia Island is nice in the fall, and the sand and the water was great. So if you ever need somewhere to get away in the fall, that's the place to go. But one of the things that strikes me is I was catching up on emails and got the enrollment data. And we've talked about it before, but the number of our male students who have dropped out of school, and that's a disproportionate amount in the African-American community. It is very concerning. And when you look at our region and what's happening in our region, what's happening isn't around the COVID issue, it's an economic issue. And the only way we can close that gap is through education. So, Madam Chair, as you talked about earlier, the number of services that we need to bring into the college and surround our students with, and I've said this before, there are students who have experienced tremendous trauma, and getting over trauma is not, go take a couple of aspirin and we'll work through that. It's not that. It takes a lot of focused social work on that, as well as a lot of support to get through that. And I can't imagine what our students are going through. I happen to know some students that go to the college and they were on the street 6 months ago, literally, not in a car, they were on the street. And so through another organization, they're off the street now, thank God, but we've been there as a support for them to go to school. So we're part of their solution going forward. So I look forward to learning from all of you and working with all of you going forward. We've got some challenges in our region. And I am just very concerned with the number of men who have dropped out of classes. We've got to get them back, because that's the only way to address where we are. That's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod. That was very thoughtful. Our next item is any possible new business. Are there any suggestions for new business currently? Okay. Well,
Pam, would
yes.
this be a time to talk about that student survey? Is that appropriate at this time?
I think that's for our childcare.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So does someone want to move to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn our regular board meeting.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Okay. Next, we're going to our childcare workshop. Do we have another Zoom meeting with that? Jessica?
Hope not.
No, it's on the same one. We can just stay
okay.
here.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, easy. Finally.
Okay.
Madam
So-
Chair, can I ask that we take a couple of minutes just for a bio break, just if that's possible?
That's an excellent idea. Okay.
All right.
Okay, how many minutes? 5, 10?
Yeah.
5 minutes is perfect.
5 is good.
Okay.
Okay. We'll be back. We'll be right back.
Moo, how are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just want to go ahead and share my screen so I can.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can share your thing somehow.
Okay,
Is your video? Are you gonna have your video on?
yeah, I'm gonna put my video on.
Okay, I can see you. So go ahead and
Okay.
just click share. We gotta click share twice.
All right,
Okay, it's coming on. Yeah, you're fine.
good. All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Pam, how are you?
I'm good, Christine. It's good to see you again.
You?
I'm looking forward to this.
Good.
Got a lot of good information from the ACT conference on childcare and Family Resource Center.
Fantastic.
So how Christine, how many practicum students do we have from the Brown School on campus?
We've got one. We've got one, yeah. But we anticipate, we're continuing to interview students and we anticipate getting an additional one.
Okay.
We just put it together. The students
Yeah.
now finding out about us, but we feel, and our contact over there feels like we're going to be a pretty attractive option just because of our location.
Right. It is very handy.
Mhm.
Okay.
We've got a young lady on board and she's excited. She started at the beginning of the month. She's getting we're already working.
Okay, well, maybe we need to share that in our workshop, but I just wondered if she's physically on campus.
Oh, yeah, she's on campus.
Okay.
Just Forest
All right.
Park campus.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, when we get everybody back, we can get started.
Yes, ma'am. And you need to tell me about your conference and some of the things that you learned.
Oh, gosh. I think, when I talk to people who aren't, involved with colleges generally, I always tell them, there's a food bank on every American college campus. And they're all shocked.
Yeah.
And I think, for community college students, they're at much greater risk for all sorts of disasters in their life.
Absolutely. They're one paycheck away from homelessness. I mean, it's just, living on the edge, truly.
Right. And, when I used to manage big medical practices, and one of the things I learned was when people are really poor, it's hard for them to stay employed because one problem ruins their ability to come to work. A muffler, anything, they can't get to work. they don't have friends who have cars. I mean, it's just, you see it over and over again. They lose jobs just because they can't be consistent.
Yeah.
Because of financial reasons.
That's our students.
Yeah, it is. And that's true for all community colleges.
I think so, certainly. I mean, certain areas I'm sure are worse than others, but, and when you think about the fact that community colleges serve the majority of students of color, you know, from an equity standpoint, we've got a lot of work to do.
Right, we do. Okay, is our 5 minutes up yet?
I'm back. Hello, Dr. Davis.
Hello, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you were on a beach recently. I'm so jealous.
I'm trying to get back there.
As fall is approaching, I'm like, wow, I didn't have fall in Florida. This is different.
No, it was great. The temperatures were 80 degrees and water warm. So,
although it was 80 degrees today.
yeah, I think this is the last 80-degree day we'll see in a while.
Burst my bubble, why don't you?
Well, I did something I was trying to get finished. I completed the staining of my deck, so that I didn't party with it. I just worked. So.
Okay.
Okay. Rodney, thanks for that break. That was really a thoughtful move.
Yeah, I just needed to stand, Pam. I needed to stand up for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it's a long time to sit.
Madam Chair, you let me know when.
My screen says still recording. Is that happening?
Yes.
Don't take a trip. Nobody said anything.
We missing anybody?
Dr. Pittman.
I think everyone's here, and Craig might be in the clouds of San Francisco. But Doris, you're not muted, just so you know.
I thought I was muted. Oh,
Just want to make sure you know that.
Kevin's always looking out.
It's the worst when you're not muted and you think you are.
Right.
thank you. Thank you so much, Kevin. Now I'll mute myself again.
No worries.
All right, Pam, Dr. Larson is back.
Okay.
All right.
I knew he was in the clouds.
Pam, so I think everyone is here, so we're ready when you are.
Okay. Well, we're going to call on Christine to start us in this program. So she can share.
I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Trustees members, Chancellor Pittman. Thanks for inviting me back to talk to you tonight about our childcare program. Specifically, what I thought I would do was talk to you more broadly about our student assistance programs at St. Louis Community College. Each of our campuses have a SAP office. And as part of our SAP office, we provide those childcare resources for our students. And so I wanted to go through and just give you a sort of a holistic look at all of those programs that we provide to our students. Some of you board members were talking at the end of the meeting about just the needs of our students. They don't check their issues at the door. And, you know, we know that they come to us with a host of issues that they're already facing. And so our goal in student affairs is to get them ready to be ready to learn, ready to be in the classroom. And what that means is really supporting them with, you know, all of the needs that they have. We know that they are human beings with challenges, financial, family, personal, all sorts of other issues. So really our goal is to try to support the students as best we can. And of course, making sure that they get that degree, which is really what their goal is, or some credential. So some of the common challenges, and these are not going to be new, you all have heard these things mentioned before. So in preparation for this survey, I looked at I reviewed a few of the, in preparation for this presentation, I looked at a few of the surveys that have been done at St. Louis Community College. We partnered with the Hope Lab some years ago on housing and food insecurity, a survey. We've done, our SAP offices have had, you know, informal surveys of students. We've done other types of surveys of students who registered, who enrolled, didn't register, who left us over the years. And some of the common things that I found, and certainly what I'm hearing currently from our staff, is these are the top four. So food, housing, childcare, and transportation. And those are all things that we try to address at the college. And so I just want to go through some of these things with you and talk you through how the SAP offices on our campus help students in these ways. So crisis assistance is a big one. So we know that many of our students struggle with housing insecurity. A few are dealing with homelessness. And housing insecurity could be, you know, they're couch surfing, they're not sure, they're not in a stable home environment. And when you think about that, you think about the fact that we're asking students to learn remotely. We're giving them a laptop in many cases. We're now investigating doing hotspots. But if we're doing all those things, but if their home life is not secure, if they don't have a place, you know, where they can be and get a hot meal and feel safe, you know, what impact are we really having? So homelessness and housing insecurity is a big issue. Food is another big issue. And we'll talk about our food pantries that we have on our various campuses. We assist students through domestic violence challenges, you know, on our campuses. We also have an emergency fund that's administered through our foundation, which is fantastic because we can get some cash in the hands of our students relatively quickly. So they up to $200. So, you know, that's, you know, food for a week or two. That's gas, that's, you know, any sort of issues like that are, you know, that means the difference between, you know, staying in your house, having heat, things like that. So that's a great thing. And I'm hoping that we can continue to do that emergency fund. And again, our SAP offices help students apply for that fund. We also provide advocacy service on campus and off. We help some students with, you know, if they're having an issue with the financial aid office, if it's admissions, advising, whatever, on our campuses, the staff in our SAP offices will help with that. Now that, and we'll talk some more about our partnership with the Brown School at WashU, but now that we have those social work interns on our campuses, I'm hoping that we can expand some of the services that we're providing through our, in addition to childcare help, we can provide some of those other social work type services to students. We also help students file, apply for food stamps, Medicaid, disability, and things like that. An area that's grown recently in those offices is the need for case managing of students. So, if you think about the traditional social work workload, you have a case of students clients that you just follow up with. Many of our students struggle and need, ongoing resource referral information. They need emotional support. And so those offices on our campuses really provide that support for students, and we follow up with them as long as they are students on our campuses. I mentioned earlier about our Archers Market. So these are two photos. The top one is Flow Valley, and the bottom picture is from Forest Park, where we have pantry items that we provide to students. Now, we don't have, it's not a large, they're not large food pantries. We would love to expand it, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about what we'd like to do there. But basically, it's really to feed students, when they come in for the day. We have the ability on a limited basis to provide food that they can take home, but for the most part, it's really about providing if they're on campus and they're hungry. On the Flow Valley campus, we have a small microwave where they can heat something up or cook something in the microwave. We also have a need for toiletry items, and so we have some toiletry items that we can give away to students. Of course, we can use more of those items, but those pantries are open and available on our campuses and all of our locations. So as we talk about childcare and creating the Family Resource Center, it made a lot of sense for to kind of house this center as part of our SAP office and the SAP programs at the college, because those offices are already doing referrals. They're helping students fill out the C Campus App Grant application. They're helping them with so many other things. And so at Forest Park, we're starting with the Resource Center, and the top picture there is the photo of our intern from WashU. That young lady started the beginning of this month. And the bottom is just a photo with a table that we're trying to make it child friendly, so that if a student comes in, they have their child with them, we can kind of keep the child occupied, they can play. We're gonna try to outfit it so that with some games and books and so on, so that if they're getting help, they can, their child feel like they're welcome there as well. And then we'd love to expand to Flow Valley and maybe Merrimack. We'll see how that goes with the partnership with WashU, but they were certainly open to it when we met with them. So we got started this, like I said, this October. We're marketing to students. We did collect data from students on our financial aid applications. We had 500 names of students who were interested in childcare, and so we're following up with those students as we speak to find out what their needs are. We're finding that many of them have already figured out some other options, but we're collecting that data right now. Okay, so I wanted to provide you with some updates on the board action that was taken at an earlier meeting on childcare. There were, I think, a few recommendations that were made by that committee that was formed. That was before I was here. And the board adopted those recommendations. And so just wanted to provide you an update. The first one talked about collecting data on the needs of our students. And so a question was included on the financial aid application asking students if they need childcare, how many children do they have? Like I said, 500 students expressed interest, and all of them are being contacted now. In fact, I think we wrapped up contacting all those students, and we will certainly continue to do that as those names come in to work with students to help them, find that support that they need. The other one was to continue to encourage and further educate students about that grant, this campus grant, that of course they can use in the community. So at the beginning of the year, we sent an email to our entire student body about the grant. A website's been developed that we refer students to, and of course, our staff offices will assist them in filling out the application. We are currently advertising for a full-time. Thank you. You all approved that position, I believe, at the last board meeting. So the title is called the Child Care Resource and Referral Coordinator. And that position is advertised, like I said, on our website, and we're hoping to fill that by the end of November. That full-time person will help us manage the Family Resource Center, be that lead person district-wide initially. Although they'll be housed at Forest Park, the idea is that they would be responsible for growing the programs on all of our campuses and hopefully expanding our partnership with WashU so we can have more interns on our various campuses to help supplement the staff that we already have. The next recommendation was just to continue to search for grants that would assist us in funding a child care center possibly, and that work is ongoing. And then finally, study the feasibility of a scholarship or a voucher program that can be made available to students for childcare purposes. And we actually partnered with Student Affairs, and the foundation recently submitted a grant application to Aleutian. It's a small grant, $20,000, but certainly that would, we prioritize childcare as a need for our students. And so we would, if we do get awarded that grant, those monies would help to support childcare scholarships to our students. So as I was talking to the staff across the campus, they shared with me just some, in addition to what they are already doing, they see a need to expand case management and emotional support services. One of the things that they're hearing from students, and I think this goes, Trustee G, to your comment about trauma, and just the fact that our students come to us with so many issues and just gets in the way of them being able to complete their programs. And so, although we have counselors on our campuses, and students certainly take advantage of that, the ongoing case management of those students is really necessary for us to kind of continue to check in with them just to make sure that they have what they need to be successful. One of the other things they talk about is insurance and medical support on our campuses. And I know that that's something I certainly in my past, I had students that would ask for, if they could, we had a nurse on campus, maybe a partnership with one of our hospitals that would have a nurse on one of our campuses, or somebody who can administer, if they're feeling ill or whatever. I'm not sure what that would look like, but that's something that students are asking for. Somebody mentioned the cost of, I think, Trustee Martin, you talked about the cost of textbooks. Certainly for our students, it's an issue as well. We give them tuition, Pell Grant for tuition, but there's not a lot left to cover the cost of textbooks. So definitely additional need there for textbook assistance. And then housing, housing continues to be an issue sometimes for our students. And so we're hearing from them that off-campus housing, help with off-campus housing would be great. When I was at the Flow Valley campus this past week, the staff talked about, students would come in and they need to basically wash the clothes that they're wearing. And that it would be nice to have a washer and dryer where we're not talking about doing loads of laundry. We're just talking about just even for the day of helping students with having some clean clothes. We'd love to expand our food pantries that we have. We'd love to purchase a refrigerator or a freezer so we can have frozen items. Right now, it's all pantry items. And then they expressed the need for a stove to do cooking demonstrations and so on. So wanted to share a few pictures. These are from the Flow Valley campus. We have a beautiful space on that campus that Deb Carter has worked with facilities to create. Deb Carter is our vice president of students there. We want to expand the clothing closet that you see on the bottom. We'd love to, at some point, we're going to do a clothing drive and try to collect some items. There's a need for winter clothing. A lot of our students take the bus, and so gloves, scarves, and things like that are a big need. And so we're going to try to collect that. You'll see that young lady in that space there. That's a space that we're creating as a quiet area. So if a student needs some privacy to work on whatever, we have some space for that. And then the photo on the top right is of a meditation space. Again, just talking about needing to take a time out and take a deep breath. And so I thought that was a great idea from the staff at Flow Valley. And so that's really a preview of the SAP offices and childcare. Are there any questions?
Well, Christine, that was a nice presentation about our services, but I didn't see much about childcare. And I think part of the reason is because the childcare licensing that is near the campus is very difficult and probably full. And licensing isn't the same as quality from my perspective, especially in the state of Missouri, because the licensing rules are very lax, in my opinion. And so what I think we have to do is really have a real strategy about finding funding through federal, state, and foundation grants to build and to, provide that service that we as a educational organization train so many people in childcare. And really, birth to 5 are the most important years of any person's life in terms of what they're going to be able to accomplish as an adult. And so I've spent many hours in the neighborhoods I represent in St. Louis. Many of our children are left alone. You'll see a 6-year-old watching a 3-year-old. Their parents are working to eke out a poverty income that leaves them hungry and uninsured. And we have an obligation to the community to better our community through early childhood education. We need to operate a child care program. And what we do already is operate a program that wins national awards and trains childcare providers in the whole metro area. And we set a very high standard for that care of children under the age of 5. So the community college in the US have funded their childcare programs with federal, state, and private foundation contributions, and we must do the same. Our community deserves this from us. So what I'd like to see is a list. I know that several were listed in the LA County's community colleges. Mccloskey was one of them. I mean, I think we have a reputation as a community that really needs support. I don't think anybody in the country doesn't understand, that we have all these problems of inner city crime and lack of educational programs. So I'm not sure how we go forward, but I don't think we can continue to say that it costs too much money. That doesn't work for me. And even if our students aren't, using 100% of that childcare facility, we still need to provide that. Of those 500 who expressed interest, what campuses were those responses coming from?
The vast majority of those were from Forest Park.
Okay. So
that's such an important piece of data. Those 500 students, what they said, what they wanted, did they want to have a spot on campus? And the implication of your comment, which I don't know that you intended, but was that, we don't have that problem at Flow Valley because we've got the child care center there. And I would like to know if that's true.
Hey, Vera.
Who's using the child care center at Flow Valley?
Vera?
I know a lot of those are not our students. And I'm not being antagonistic here. I just want to make sure. I agree with what you just said. Money isn't the issue. I think we need to put money where money will make the right kind of positive difference. But it's such a complicated problem. I mean, I don't even know where to start with the next sentence, but if you're a student, potential student, let's say not a student, but you're a parent in St. Louis, how well do you understand that if I come to the community college, they'll help me get an education and they'll also help me get my childcare needs under control? How well understood is that? My guess is not very well, but I think, Annie, you've said, more research, more reaching out to people, not just our current students, but students who we would love to attract to find out, are we known to deliver these services already? Or can we do essentially a marketing campaign about services that we will be providing or would provide or are providing that these students need?
Can I expand on that just a little bit? And Dr. Davis, you may be able to answer. Of the surveys that we're doing, an immediate issue that comes to mind. Are there any of the 500 students, do we know how many of them are facing housing issue right now today, where they have children and now we're going to make the problem worse?
I don't know that, if they're having housing issues as well. I guess what I was trying to paint for all of you is that the issues are broader than just what our students are facing. It's broader than just childcare.
So yes, the issues are broader, and I think there's multiple solutions to provide trauma-informed assistance to our students. I really support that, but I don't want to step away from childcare. We know, that's 500 people that told you in this last survey, but we know that an awful lot of people in the region need an education. It's their only way out of poverty. And they're shackled by their children. I love children, but the reality is their kids are holding them back. And we need to be able to have real solutions to that problem. And I said solutions intentionally because I don't think it's building one child care center on Forest Park and now that problem's gone away. I'm not opposed to that. If that's a good part of the solution, that's fine. But I think we need to look at multiple strategies to help students so that really it becomes known in the community that if you're willing to do the work and go to college, they'll help you with academics. That we've got a co-rec program. We'll catch you up. You haven't been in school for a while. We'll help you with your housing and food needs. We'll help you with children. When Pam says very accurately, our community deserves that, needs that, that's the service we're supposed to provide. I think that's exactly right.
I would agree with that 1,000%. And, back to what Pam said about the first 5 years of a child's life being critical to them having a good life in the future. That is absolutely, there's data for days on that. And I think, providing that, making it easy, making it affordable. I'll tell you, I stopped going to college because I couldn't afford working. I couldn't afford to work, go to college. I needed to work because I needed the health care for my son and myself. But I couldn't go back to college because daycare was so expensive and I couldn't figure it out. So here I am with 2 years of college and a 34-year career at a company where I stay there because I have health care. So that's the reality of this. And if it would have been easier for me to go to college if there had been childcare provided.
And to go off of that, I'll say, as someone who sits on a board of a K-12, I think universal pre-K and early childhood certainly needs to be addressed across this country. And it's certainly not something that's the community college's role to do either. Certainly we need to lean on our K-12 partners to provide that, because it really comes from state government, I believe, that we need to offer high quality pre-K services for our students. I do believe that one of the issues that aligns nicely with our strategic plan is removing barriers for our students. And certainly childcare is a barrier. And I would say with that is a job. Many of our students need jobs for income to be able to take classes, and they'll choose a job over classes, and they see making $15 an hour as a high paying job. And they don't think about when they're 60 years old, what are they going to be doing? And $15 an hour at 60 doesn't sound nearly as nice as it does when you're 20. And certainly, I do think it is, like Dr. Larson pointed out, a multiple prong approach. To me, when I talk with students and teaching at, I used to teach at Sumner, and the zip codes in Sumner have the highest homicide rates and murder rates out of any in the whole St. Louis city, from my understanding, when you look at the zip codes that are surrounded in the Ville. And the issues there are, students, while they don't continue school, is one reason is childcare, but I don't think, from talking with them even, that they would bring their children to the community college for childcare on days that they don't have classes. But if there's ways that we could provide funding for them to have a childcare where they could have the same location for them to do when they go to work or when they go to school, that is what they really, truly need. But I do think it goes to the reason why the board, from my understanding, offered that full-time position is to find highly qualified licensed facilities that are near students' houses, not just any Joe Schmo daycare center that's not licensed and all of that. Because to Pam's point, I think it is about high quality licensed facilities that offer the services that our students deserve and their children deserve. But I do think that we need to look at how do we provide more funding for our strategic plan to remove barriers for students. Because yes, I think one level is childcare, but that is one of many levels that our students are facing, that we can't just put a Band-Aid in one area and hope the water doesn't leak out the other hole. There's so many things that we need to figure out of how do we provide the whole child, the whole student in higher ed, those services to really be successful, because they need high paying jobs, whether it's a 2-year degree in a CTE field or a certificate, or to go on to a 4-year institution. We need to provide something that's the full wraparound without losing focus on childcare, because that is certainly a piece of it. But I think looking at how to provide better funding and services to get students to be aware that that is available for them. And so I think it aligns nicely with our strategic plan. I think we need to be creative of how we can help our students in new ways and find funding to help them in all areas, as mental health needs are astronomically climbing. As you look at suicide rates of teenagers and young adults, it's increasing. And virtual learning, as you see, is not for every student. And it's not just a childcare reason why it's not for every student. It's not meant for every student's learning style and approach. And so we need to figure out how to, I'll go back to our strategic plan again, but of how to remove those barriers is so critical. And childcare is certainly one of them. And how do we do it in a multiple prong approach? As you point out, Dr. Davis, there's so many concerns that need to be addressed and needs that need to be met.
Right. And so, Ross, if I could,
I appreciate Kevin's comments, but this is supposed to be about childcare, and I understand all those other issues. They're not disconnected, but until we have a plan to have a building on that Forest Park campus, when we've got 4 floors of really a lot of new students coming on that campus, there aren't childcare facilities near where they live in St. Louis City. They just don't really exist in a way that would have enough openings for those children. And many of them really don't meet the standard that I think we have to project. So I want to see a plan of the potential funding sources that are available, and also what's going on with the other $5 million that the state has for childcare. If they could give $2.3 million to Rolla for childcare when they have a very low percentage of women on that campus, seems like we should be getting a substantial amount of money from that program.
This is such a complicated issue. The good news, yesterday, the State Board of Education authorized early childhood to be its own department within the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed. Seems like kind of an obvious thing, but it hasn't been true. That has not been a part of the mission of K-12, as Kevin pointed out. So now early childhood is, and even there though, does that really mean for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, or are they meaning that whole spectrum? Missouri was the state that started Parents as First Teachers. Now that's all over the world. and Missouri doesn't fund it like it used to. So the families that need it the most don't get that service in much of St. Louis, actually. So what's our mission, though? Our mission really does have to be around serving college students. And maybe it's, I keep saying potential college students, so it's, attracting students that should go to college, that could go to college, that we can help do that. And childcare for many of them is a barrier, and that's what we want to try to help solve. And I think we can, in this call, decide what that solution is. I think we can charge Christine, or through Dr. Pittman, charge Christine to come back with a whole host of ways that could be addressed. And if it's building a building on Forest Park and having a child care center, or maybe building 3 buildings in the communities that students that attend Forest Park tend to live in, and they don't have quality child care, maybe we help more seats and they're not right on our campus. I don't know the answer, but I think addressing those issues is sort of the next step, or finding those answers, finding the questions and then finding the answers is the next step.
Right. So Trustee Ross, we talked about starting with the Family Resource Center, right? At the previous conversation that we had, we said we would start here, and we have not hired that person yet. They're not on board yet. So we have to start somewhere. We're not going to have a building tomorrow.
Right.
I think we need to get this person on board. We need to get the interns, in place and see what the need is from our. I don't know what those phone calls are going to tell us, but we're talking to the students. So I will certainly report back what we're learning from them as to their need. It may be that, if you only have classes on campus 2 days a week, they're not going to come the other days just to drop off the child, their child, and go back.
Right. That's why we didn't. Right. That's why we didn't endorse having the federal program that was offered to us, because if their only transportation is a bus, they're not bringing their infant on a bus on a day they're not on campus. That's just not going to happen. And at Florissant Valley, they have figured out how to schedule the students who need it 2 days a week, and then the other students the other 2 days a week. So they've got that plan worked out. They know how to do that. We're not in uncharted territory there. So
and if I can, also for us to think about, as I think more about Sumner, and that also we do have the Harrison Center, is something long-term for us to think about. Is there a way to turn some of that space into, if an avenue to remove barriers is based on feedback from this person comes back to say, this location is more ideal because students are located there and they could drop it off for work or drop off to go to classes. Harrison Center is in a great location in terms of where a lot of students who have a lot of, I think from Sumner, but again, we have potentially space there, Pam, also to think about is there an opportunity to think about how do we reutilize some of our own buildings we have if the surveys and information comes back that is they need.
Right. But again, if you don't have a car, that doesn't help when you need to come to campus. I mean, it's really a lot about transportation as well. Yeah. It's not a city you can live with comfortably without a car. It's a problem. Buying groceries on the bus, it's no fun.
I think, Pam, I shared with you that when we investigated giving out the UPass, I was sort of skeptical, but I don't know how many thousands of students get that now. I mean, they're using the bus because transportation is a major problem. And I suspect we can't buy them all a car, but we do have the $200 emergency fund. So when the car gets flat tire and they don't have the money to fix it, we should be able to do those kinds of things. And I don't, and there's call ride. I don't know all the things that ought to be done, but we're asking the right questions, I think, is how do we put together a number? It won't be 50. It'll probably be 10 things we're going to try to do that really address these issues. And we think they make sense because maybe somebody else is doing them, or they're uniquely suited to St. Louis. We have the Harrison Center. Why wouldn't we put a child care center there? I mean, I don't know what the right answers are, but we need to figure that out and then systemically put it in action.
Right.
Trustee Ross.
Yes.
You said you wanted an update on the second round of funding from DSS. So I had an email from Rory Bielik where our team had looked at that. We have a very short fuse if we're going to apply. I think maybe a week or two. I think the concern is, we could ask for one-time funds through this. I think there's $4.8 million available this second round. I think the hesitation of the team is the operational dollars that will have to be dedicated to run this. We would estimate at least $500,000 a year that would have to be supplemented for this type of center. So we have not, I don't believe that Rory has circled back to DSS yet, but we're going to have to very shortly. If we're going to apply for this, the funds would probably only be for construction or renovation cost, and then we would have to assume the operational cost.
Which I'm perfectly happy to do. I mean, I don't have that. That's not my problem. And I think if we get an infusion of some state funding, it allows us to go out back to the zoo and say, okay, we have this. How much can you do? What can we get from other federal grants? And we start putting together the construction money that we need. And also, once we get momentum going, it will take off. And, we have other programs that I think you understand I'm not happy about. And that is really about spending so much money on a sports program that looks like a giant failure to me. So,
So what am I hearing? Are you committing $500,000 a year in operational cost as a board? Is that what I'm hearing per year?
I will,
That's
yes.
what I'm asking. If we're to proceed, you're going to have to at least put aside $500,000 a year for operational cost.
Yes, I'm prepared to do that.
I'm asking the board.
I'm willing. I probably need more information before I'd say, yeah, that's what we want to do. If this is a really short time frame, I assume that's to get state money that could be used to build a building. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Craig, that's my understanding. These funds could be used to renovate or construct. Again, I don't know how much we would get. There's 4.8 million available. We might get some of that at least. And then the college would have to come up with the balance of whatever it would take to renovate or construct a facility. Then we know you would probably be at least needing to dedicate at least $500,000 a year in operational cost.
Is there a way we can still apply for it to see if we get the money and then have a conversation?
I think the criteria of the application will be we'll have to show that we're going to use these funds and support the center on our own. So that's something you'll have to commit to if we apply.
And it looks like Paul is just saying that we have to spend these funds by September 30th. Is that correct?
2021.
2021. Yeah, it would have to be a quick turnaround if we're going to put a building up.
Well, given the need expressed by our students, and I certainly
500. Yeah, 500.
I'm where Craig is. We need more data, but the need is clearly there, and I'm willing with more data to support that. Really, because we're talking about an area and a region that is it's under siege right now, and it's under siege because they don't have the ability to come out of this poverty they're in, and we're the solution. So an investment of $500,000 a year isn't scaring me away. Yeah, we might have to cut something to get there, but I am willing to do that because we've got 500 students saying they need, and the majority of them are sitting at our Forest Park campus.
And that's where I am right now. I was waiting to hear what everybody was going to say, but I've always been in favor of having a child care facility right there. Not just I know it's needed at Forest Park because I know of people who need that and have expressed that to me. And 500 people, that's what Dr. Davis said, responded.
Right.
And
But
to
what
me,
we don't know is what the exact need is. Is it, do they want it in their community? Do they want it, the childcare on our campus? We just don't know the breakdown of that. So that's.
and so that might be some more data that we might need, but just the idea of a childcare a center is needed, and I'm for that. $500,000, you know, that is money,
Russell
but look at
Valley's
all
gonna
the
be
money
what
we
I'm
spend
talking
on
about.
other stuff.
It's a good idea. Set up Tuesday, Thursday schedule, set up Monday, Wednesday schedule, bring your kid, you'll be in that center. That's when most of your classes will be, probably online classes. I mean, we
Yeah.
can make it work.
And I guess I would say I don't see a disadvantage in trying to apply for the money, see how much money we get. When we're still trying to onboard the person, if the need comes back from those 500 students that says we want something XYZ different, we have to September 30th, 2021 to spend that money. I know things take time to develop, but at least then we would have an idea of, because if we only get, let's say $100,000, I'm just throwing some dollar amount, that's very different than having to come up with X number of millions to build a facility and then $500,000 to sustain it. And so I think there's too many factors, but I don't think it's worth passing the opportunity to at least apply for as much as we can get to get some information about how much we get. And for Dr. Davis's team, when they hire that person fully on board, to dig in a little bit deeper into those 500 students and find out what specifically are they looking for or do they need to be successful. And then it gives us a chance to look at all the numbers and look at budgets, because again, 500,000 is one thing, but if we're spending 3 million to build something and then 500,000 on top of it, that does change some things in terms of factors. But if the state gives us all the money to build a facility, that might be a different conversation. And if students are saying they need it on campus for 2 days a week or whatever the case may be, but it's hard to say right now. Obviously the board can't take any action in a workshop, but it's hard to say without knowing that full need. But I don't think we should pass the opportunity up of applying from the state for as much money as we can possibly get. And if we turn down the money, I'm sure we can turn it down if we are awarded it.
Yeah, I would look for, if you build something, you're probably going to be in the neighborhood of about $5 million for construction cost. Then you'll have to be in operations, and just in full disclosure, of the 500 people who said that they needed childcare, we don't know how many would actually use a facility on campus. We haven't asked that question. I just want you all to be aware of that. Our experience at Flow Valley is that very few students actually use it. So if you have a licensed daycare center, particularly if you're talking about ramping up an additional childcare program, the cost would be above $500,000 if you're hiring faculty, not just folks to take care of run the center. So you very well likely would be needing to find funds not only to run the center, but then to help fund students' costs to use the center. So, I wish I had a spreadsheet for you to show all this, but I'm just trying to be as transparent as I can on what you may be seeing.
But when we have something from the state, it's much easier to raise more money from the community because we have, the goal and we have some money. I mean, it's just not okay with me to just say, well, it costs too much and we don't want to commit, because that doesn't get us anywhere.
I think it would be good to get an answer generally of who is that going to serve, because the experience in Florissant Valley was that students, of course, used it, but of course, so did faculty who had students, so did community members who paid to come for daycare. So is it your vision that this facility would only serve students, or maybe students and their living needs, laundry for the children? I don't know. So is it your vision that this will only serve students, so there won't be outside people coming in to have their kids come from the community?
No, I agree. We do need community people as well. But, we need this for employment, it's workforce development money, it's all sorts of reasons. And I don't think we have to just say this is only for students. No, because we know that the community members will pay a higher rate than our students. So they make the money work a little better. And also, what would be better than to have a student of the future being in that childcare center? I mean, many of the people who were in that childcare center at Florissant Valley ended up being students. And the other thing to remember is Florissant Valley is a very inaccessible place for students because it's so far away. Forest Park is much more convenient to bus lines. It's much more rapid to get people there. And I mean, it's a much better location in many ways. We don't have the same amount of land that Florissant Valley does, but the numbers, the density is what makes the Forest Park campus look much more attractive for childcare.
I just wanted to chime in, and I think that what I envision is a family center. You know, it is not only a childcare center, but it is a resource for families to have all these student services, to have counseling places, to have classes, to have, you know, a food pantry, to have a clothing fit, just all of these wraparound services in the St. Louis Community College Family Center. And, you know, to me, that's supporting our students, that's supporting, you know, childcare is infrastructure for families. And without it, you fail. And I know that it's got a lot of tentacles, but we're talking about some really great things here with this crisis assistance and case management and, you know, having the Family Resource Center, but just putting it all in one space so that when that person comes in, oh, you've got this. Oh, I can ask this person this question. You know, there's a feeling of, there's a really good feeling of I'm cared for and I'm not alone, I'm not afraid, and we're providing answers for these families.
Which is exactly what the California program talked a lot about. The Family Resource Center helps those distressed families stay in school and get a lot of their needs met through that Family Resource Center.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Yeah, I think Trustee Martin's comments, Marshall's comments, reflect that holistic approach to what we need to do as a community college. We've said earlier, it's not just a childcare issue. It is childcare is part of the overall solution. And if you just pluck out childcare, we'll lose. But you're going to have to put childcare as part of an overall solution. And I think your comments hit it right on. That was my vision for what we want to do. Not just a child care center, but a family resource center. That's child care is integrated into it. And we can address a whole host of issues there. And the reason I brought up the housing component before was if you've got children and you're about to be put on the street, that'll push people out of school. They're not going to worry about, you know, if you don't have food to eat, they're not going to worry about coming to school. If the person who was responsible for that individual, you were living in their house and that person died from COVID, that's trauma. They're not worried about coming to Forest Park. So those are the kind of things we're going to help folks address, or otherwise, you know, you're right, it is expensive, but I'm looking at our decline in enrollment. That's expensive.
Yes.
So at some point, we're going to have to make the strategic investments, I believe, for the long term. We're going to have to look at some programs that we don't need anymore. All right. So at the end of the day, we can't cater to everything because industry isn't telling us that. When I see Centene say, I'm not going to build my next building here because I can't find the talent, they're talking to us and we got to help them figure that out. Rather than have them go to Charlotte, North Carolina. That is a red flag to me. So we got to figure this thing out and get more students in the pipeline to get educated, and then we can help turn the region around.
Sounds like we're telling Dr. Pittman to write that grant or have that grant written.
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah, so
But
that's
I'm
great
looking at it-
direction. And Christine and I wanted to present, you know, we're trying to provide you with full disclosure of what may or may not happen if we build a center. I can't guarantee how many students would use it or what our enrollment from students would be in it. I mean, that's going to be there, but I want you to emphasize that this board will need to make a long-term commitment with the center. If you recall, we closed one.
Yeah.
Actually, we closed two earlier, and I wasn't here at the time, but I understand that that was a pretty dramatic event when you closed the centers at Forest Park and at Merrimack. So I want to make sure you're all aware that you're committing to this for, you know, several years, maybe decades.
And maybe you'll get more research and know better. But I was on the board when we did that, just barely. And we were told that the two centers were physically deteriorated and they needed, you know, $500,000 to $1.5 million each at Merrimack and Forest Park. And we were cutting and balancing the budget, including reducing sports by 50% or more. So it was all part of that. And, you know, the board was very uncomfortable with that decision for all the reasons we've talked about. You know, it might have been a lot smarter decision to say, let's find the capital to keep those centers open, because they were being used. We had lots of the families using them. Almost all students come to complain to the board about that.
Well, it sounds as though the board's in consensus, and what I can do then, because I had told Rory not to respond to DHSS until tomorrow, because I wanted to have this conversation with you, and I think we have 6 days to put something together. But we can put together a proposal and send it in. We probably, Paul would know this better than me, we'll probably have to outline in the budget what recurring funds we're willing to commit to. So I just want to make you help you understand that we'll be committing quite a bit of recurring funds to this project within the grant. Doubtful we can change our mind once it's applied. If any money is given to us, then we'll be committed.
Well, I got married 30 years ago and I'm still committed to that marriage. So I don't have a problem with long-term commitments, Dr. Pittman.
I'm all for it. This is all for the good of the
Same
community.
here.
Absolutely.
Strongly, I voiced a lot that we are St. Louis Community College.
Right.
That we are connected to the community. We are funded in taxes by the communities. The only thing that I would add to this, and let's go try it, is while this is all maybe occurring or maybe not, we still need to be connecting with the community who could help us. Churches that are right next door near a college, or facilities, YMCAs that are open or whatever. We should see if some of those community partners would work with us. So even we may get this Chuck-in Center or the research center, but maybe there's an after-school program they're willing to do for us. Or, you know, I just feel like that back and forth with the community, even if we have this center, is so important to keep those ties with the Ely-Montanary institutions that want to improve their neighborhoods and their people who live there.
I agree with all that.
That's all terrific. Yeah, and I'm very encouraged by this conversation, and that will help me approach the politics of this grant at the state. But I'll need to be, again, we can't change our mind once we apply. So once you step in, you're into this arena. It's like the MOXL funding. Once we step in, it's ours, and we got to own it and make sure it's a success. You know, the really kind of the blessing here is we had funds just released from our earlier withhold, that I would suggest that we just put a marker against those funds right now to see what we're going to be into. I mean, we may need money for construction. We will certainly need money for staff. I mean, that would be my suggestion to you all.
Sounds good to me.
I'm supportive of that.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
We're all in support.
This is awesome.
Very good. Thank you. It's
You
good to
got
get
it, Dr.
direction, solid
Pittman.
direction on this.
That's right. That's right.
But I think wouldn't we have a better shot at getting more money if we were calling this the Family Resource Center and it would be childcare and mental health and all these other things? Does that, I don't know.
You have to look at the grant.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll look at the grant, Annie. I mean, to me, it's
See what it
the
asks for.
DHSS round 2 childcare grant opportunity. So probably it needs to be focused on the center.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Well, on that note, when you get to yes, you can stop. So I'd like to call for an
Is that
adjournment on
really
this.
to declare victory and go home?
Right.
Victory. Yes.
There you go. Okay, we'll get busy, everybody.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you all.
Okay, we're
Right.
Thank you,
adjourned.
Dr. Davis.
Thank you.
Thanks
you.
for everything.
Mhm.
Move
Yeah,
that we
thanks.
adjourn. Bye.
So
I'm
moved.
leaving. So, okay. Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.